appropriate, yes?
Should we do this?
We did it. Welcome back to New to Everyone. It's Friday, August 16th. I'm Kate Baldwin.
And I'm Michaela Pereira. Chris Cuomo has vacated the building. He's actually on assignment, had to leave early.
He's given up on us. Let's just be honest. Coming up this half hour, emotional testimony at the Michael Jackson wrongful death trial. Debbie Rowe, the pop star's ex-wife and mother of 2 of his children, breaks down on the witness stand. We're going to talk with Jackson's former attorney, Tom Mesereau. He's going to be joining us live, talk about her impact on the case and what this means as it's dragged on for so long.
Really has. Also, Prince William speaking for the first time. Very latest. Kate?
All right. Thanks so much, Michaela. An emotional day on the stand for Michael Jackson's ex-wife. Debbie Rowe testified for a second day in the Jackson family's wrongful death lawsuit. Rowe broke down as she described her 15-year-old daughter's recent suicide attempt, saying Paris is devastated by her father's death. For more on the latest on this trial, here's CNN's Ted Rowlands.
In a second day of testimony, Jackson's ex-wife Debbie Rowe mesmerized jurors, talking about her life with the king of pop, including his journey into addiction, which she said started after this horrific accident in 1984 that burned Michael Jackson's scalp. But Rowe also talked about the good times. He wanted to be the best parent he could be, Rowe said as photos of her, Jackson, and their children were shown in court. This photo, she said, was taken when she picked Jackson up on her motorcycle from a movie set. He stayed in costume while she gave him a ride. And Rowe broke down in tears while this concert video was played from 1996 in Munich, Germany. Munich is where Rowe testified she saw doctors administer doses of propofol to induce Jackson's sleep, the drug that eventually killed him. She said she told her boss, Jackson's dermatologist, Arnie Klein, that she was worried that Jackson was addicted to propofol. AEG lawyers say that's why they called her as a witness.
I don't know how she couldn't do anything but help our case. She just let everyone know that the people in Michael's life were worried about his propofol use as early as the late 80s, early 90s.
The most dramatic moment came when she was asked about how Jackson's death affected the children. She referred to Paris Jackson's recent suicide attempts, saying, quote, "She's devastated. She tried to kill herself. She doesn't feel she has a life anymore." Ted Rowlands, CNN, Los Angeles.
All right, thanks so much, Ted. Now, I want to bring in criminal defense attorney and Michael Jackson's former attorney, Tom Mesereau, to talk more about this. Tom, you heard there in Ted's piece, a very emotional day on the stand for Debbie Rowe. She was called by the folks representing AEG Live. They're trying to prove, as Ted said, that Jackson had a long history with prescription drug abuse. What did we find out from her, do you think? Who did she actually help taking the stand?
Well, first of all, this was deja vu for me because in Michael Jackson's criminal trial in 2005, the prosecution called her thinking she would help them. She came across as very emotional, very sensitive, very protective of Michael Jackson. She felt people were taking advantage of him. And this seems to have been similar type of testimony. She's a powerful witness, very emotional. Her love and care for Michael Jackson, for her children, is absolutely evident if you're in front of her. She takes over the courtroom. I think she ended up helping the plaintiffs because I think she humanized these children who, remember, are the plaintiffs. They're suing along with their grandmother. I think she showed that Michael was a very loving person, kind person, taken advantage of, a tragic person. And I think she added a lot to the plaintiff's claim that AEG had every reason to know that he needed the right doctor to deal with these prescription drug issues.
And Debbie Rowe also spoke very emotionally about some of the plaintiffs. Paris Jackson, his daughter, her daughter, had attempted suicide after Michael Jackson's death, and she was really talking about the horrible impact this death has had on Paris Jackson. While emotional and horrific for them to have to go through, does that have any legal bearing in this case, do you think?
Well, a lot of people have wondered why Catherine and the children are going through this lawsuit, but I always respond to those inquiries by saying this: look, unless you've lost your son, unless you've lost your loving father, you don't know how they feel about this entire thing. It is stressful, it's lengthy, it's demanding. However, they want justice for their father. And I think Debbie's testimony emphasized the gravity of the loss of Michael Jackson for these children. I just think it helped the plaintiffs. I know the defense thinks that anything they shove another direction when it comes to propofol and Michael's prescription drug use will help them, but I don't believe that's true. I think in the end the jury is going to find that AEG assumed responsibility for Michael's physician, Conrad Murray. They paid him. They reminded him he was being paid. They had obligations to supervise him properly and failed to do so. And I think Debbie emphasized the tragic loss through these series of events.
Now, Tom, if you're not following this day to day, this is one thing that really surprised me. They are now in the 70th day of testimony in this case. This is a civil trial that started back in late April. Why is this dragging on so long?
Well, I think the stakes are very high. Let's face it. The plaintiffs, Catherine and the 3 children, are suing AEG, claiming they negligently caused the death of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was the greatest superstar on the planet. He'll probably never be equal when it comes to genius in choreography, dance, music, song, you name it. He never took a dance lesson in his life. He was the greatest dancer ever. Fred Astaire said that. And I think that because the stakes are so high and because the plaintiffs are probably going to be asking for in excess of $1 billion, nobody wants to leave any stone unturned. They want to call every single witness they think might plausibly be helpful to their case.
And at the end, at the very basis of this is AEG liable for Michael Jackson's death? We'll obviously be following this closely, and it is not over yet. Tom Mesereau, great to see you. Thank you so much. Michaela?
Thanks for having me.